इंडिया की
All right, Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar held a meeting with Biocon chairperson Kiran Mazumdar Shah along with TV Mohandas Pai and a few others. The meeting focused on Bengaluru's pressing civic issues, marking a step towards reconciliation. Among the points discussed were pothole repairs, development of Outer Ring Road, citywide cleanup drives and expediting metro work. The administration assured action on civic concerns with set deadlines while seeking constructive input from industry leaders. In turn, the business leaders committed to highlighting the government's positive initiatives in civic development. This is crucial considering the fact that Bengaluru's infrastructure has been a matter of concern for many years now. Just yesterday, we lost another life to Bengaluru's potholes, where a 26-year-old banker was run over by a truck. As per an eyewitness, the banker was on a bike with her brother and the car in front applied urgent brake due to a pothole. It's time accountability is fixed for these lives lost and swift action be taken. Let's also take some opinions and perspectives on the same from our guests. Joining us on the show is Mr. Shekhar Vijayan, political commentator. Mr. Vivek Menon, urban planner, is also with us. Revati Ashok, chairperson of BPAC, joins us on the show as well. Brinda Adige, social activist, also with us on the broadcast as well. Brinda Adige, I'll begin with you. Well, just like pollution in Delhi, the civic apathy in Bangalore has become an irritant, a nuisance, and a point of deep civic, anger against the management and the administration in Karnataka and Bangalore, specifically Bangalore. What once upon a time was considered to be the San Francisco or the Silicon Valley of India has completely lost its sheen due to successive governments. It's not the Congress or the BJP that we are getting into. It's also the bureaucracy. It's the agencies who have the responsibility of making roads. It's a combination of all of this that have led to, for the lack of a better word, the decadence of Bengaluru. Do you think that if people like Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw had raised their voice a little earlier, things would have been different today? And how can corporate leaders also affect this change, considering the fact that we have a prime example of something like this mobilizing now?
First and foremost, we have successive governments, like you mentioned, that have never felt that they are accountable to the citizens and the taxpayers. And corruption. So these are two things that is there. Now, it is not just Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, but you know that ordinary citizens for decades have been raising this issue, not simply on social media or on Twitter or things like that, but have taken the matter all the way up to the courts. They've filed RTIs, they've sought for performance reports, and they have filed cases in court. But the kind of laws that we have is you neither can book the bureaucracy or any bureaucrat or any politician. We continue a colonial legacy with these people, and it goes on and on. Now, second point that we must make here is, yes, we call ourselves the Silicon City and whatever, but we also know that indiscriminate infrastructure has continued. And we cannot rule out the building mafias. They've continued. For whatever want of another phrase, I would like to call them and brand them as that, because that kind of mafia that is going around is, you get all kinds of sanctions. You get sanctions on all buffer zones. The sanctions are all there. So who monitors? The same ones who give the sanctions are the ones who are supposed to monitor, are the ones who are supposed to now place a report, and all of these reports then get buried again under all of the red tape that you and I know happens. The end result, it's only the citizens who suffer. So the question here is it not important today that when laws are there and judgments, verdicts, guidelines are passed, who has to hold these people accountable? We don't book anybody, nobody. And that is where we want to hold the judiciary accountable. Because you and I know that it allows for certain action to be taken on people responsible when they violate a judgment, when they violate any rule and guidelines. Now, even that is not happening. So it looks like the entire state is taking the citizenry for a ride. And we suffer every day. Lives are lost. Like abroad, we cannot sue the civic departments. Like abroad, we cannot hold anybody accountable. If at all a case is registered, somebody way down in the bottom might be suspended, which is another vacation at the cost of the taxpayers. So it is time now for us to not only revamp our laws, but also the manner in which these are implemented and the cases are tried in the courts. If we do not do that, it is going to be a lost cause. Bengaluru will never be this Bengaluru that we keep hoping something is going to happen. Because every time, nobody is held accountable. Lives are lost, nobody is held accountable. So we want to look at also a law in the parliament where the specific people can be booked for murder, can be booked for criminal activity, criminal negligence, and immediately tried. Enough of this colonial protection that the politicians and the bureaucrats have had to date.
Absolutely right. Shekhar, you live in Bangalore. How have things changed in the last few months, if they have changed at all? Getting from point A to point B in Bangalore is nothing short of a nightmare during business days. But the fact of the matter is that businesses are reluctant to be set up in Bangalore now. People are moving to, places like Mysore or Hyderabad or even Gujarat for that matter. Shouldn't that be a cause of concern for the current administration? They're going to be losing out on so much opportunity, so much tax, and so much is riding on the reputation of Bangalore. Why is there, no recourse from the administration when it comes to these basic civic amenities? Bangalore is also one of those, cities that pays the maximum amount of taxes, and yet what you get in return for the taxes that you have paid is absolutely zilch.
Thank you for having me over. I think this has a domino effect in terms of the infrastructure. Now, as we talk, Vineet, I'm actually on the roads of Bangalore. I'm going to the airport, and there are potholes all around us. There are high-rise apartments, and it's so ironic in a place like Bangalore, where the intellectual capital is so high, where we're talking about information technology, still the roads are as bad as they can be. Now, the government really has to wake up and smell the coffee, not just in terms of setting up a task force, but also executing things, also making things happen. We've seen this has happened in the past, but there's been no action after that. There's been no accountability. There are so many lives which have been lost. Why don't we have roads which are actually named after the contractors, where the contractor's name is given? Because we need to know who's accountable for the deaths which happen. Like, lives have been lost, everything has, people have lost their lives on the potholes, because of the poor infrastructure here. We have metros which are being built, we have bridges which are being built, which have not been completed for so many years in Bangalore. And at the starting of the session, you had mentioned that Bangalore was like the San Francisco of the world, which is so true. But then the fact of the matter here is our infrastructure is just not keeping pace with it. Our infrastructure, which is also the politician's responsibility, is just not keeping pace. There is no accountability, there is no responsibility, there is no culpability for any crime which gets committed. I think there needs to be strict action which needs to be taken, and more than anything else, I feel this task force which the current government is doing is actually a step towards the right direction. Where they got in with Kiran Mazumdar Shah, and where she had complained about this. I think it's a step in the right direction. But what's also important is this has happened in the past, and what's really important right now is what action are they doing about it? How are they making it accountable? Are they just doing it because there's so much of media attention on them? Are they doing it only because people are talking about it? Or are they doing it because they're really serious about it? I think that's going to be important for the political machinery. Because if they don't do that, they will not get voted again in the future. I think people have also understood that. The voting populace of Bangalore have understood that if infrastructure is not good, they will not vote these politicians back to power again.
You're quite right about that. Mr. Menon, well, what can be done to save Bangalore? Now, it's gotten to a point where the city needs transformative energy to change and get back the reputation it perhaps once had at the start of the millennia. When Y2K came upon, Bangalore was the place to be. Everybody was rushing there like there was gold being distributed. But now it's just the opposite. People are being repelled away because of the diminishing infrastructure.
It's very unfortunate that our politicians today have taken the stand that they have actually taken. I had a lot of hopes for the Congress when it came into power, because there are a lot of very good people in the Congress who really wanted the city to grow. But I think what has essentially happened is, one, there is a bandwidth problem in terms of delivery of services, right? So if you look at all of the parastatals, the BBMP, the BMRDA, the BDA, today they do not have any technocrats or technical advisors who can kind of, ensure that the kind of infrastructure that they're actually building has really any substance to it. So mediocrity is something that is not even achievable. So forget getting good roads, getting all of that in place. But the government in itself is not focused on trying to ensure that the citizens' needs are met. And I think today one of the things that has happened is Bangalore has this very diverse population that has had exposure to the rest of the world, and they expect better services than what is being provided. Plus, and I think Brinda just mentioned that corruption is eating away at the basic fabric of this country itself, right? So if you look at Bangalore today or Karnataka, 96,000 crores was spent specifically just on the freebies that they gave away. Now, these freebies obviously drained the exchequer, so there's no real money in the exchequer to fix the problems that we are facing today. In addition to that, 33,000 crores is what is owed to the contractors who are supposed to be fixing these roads. So when you think about it, we are in the hole by about 120,000 crores. So there's no money to actually fix it. So when DK Shivakumar and the chief minister say that, hey, you know what, we want to really fix these problems, they don't have the money to fix it. And there's nobody to fix it. So I think what has happened is essentially, the Congress unfortunately has bankrupted the state. They really have bankrupted the state. And so, even if we, these patch fixes that you're seeing today, a few roads being fixed, 3,000 potholes, 4,000 potholes, most of these roads need complete overlays. But at the same time, the BBMP, the agency that's tasked with it, does not have the funds, and the contractors are not willing to go out there and work for free. So, you've got a complete mismanagement in the state, a state which basically should be at the forefront of leading the way in terms of how this country should be run, is today bankrupt, and unfortunately there's no way to fix it. I do not see a way to fix this, because if you don't have the money, no contractor is going to come forward to fix these things. And so that's where you're seeing solid waste being a problem. If you look at the lakes and the Rajakalu waste, these lakes are all interconnected. They are stinking. They've got so much of sewage and solid waste in them that nobody's even looking at that. And then you have a government today that is doing all of these patch fixes, but at the same time, many of these, in fact, the chief minister almost looks, he's trying to appeal to these governmental agencies, saying, hey, you have to fix it. But he seems desperate today. And I don't think DK Shivakumar either has any idea. They're willing to propose massive projects, 22,000 crores for a tunnel road project. Now they've renamed the the PRR, the peripheral ring road, as some business corridor. That's not going to solve the problems of the city, because the business corridor is 30 kilometers away and it's a peripheral road, which nobody in the city ever uses. So I think one of the things that they're doing is they're just trying to obviously package this whole thing so that people kind of, this whole thing dies down. But we as a state have been bankrupted. I hate to say this, but we have been bankrupted, and it squarely falls on the political class today. I know Revati Ashok is here. BPAC has been obviously trying, and I think if we do not enter the political sphere and try to change things, nothing will change, because whether it's the Congress, the BJP, or the JDS, they're all interested in fattening their own purses. I know most of these politicians, some of them are well-meaning, but many of them really do not have the wherewithal or the intent to change the way the city goes. And, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw is not responsible for fixing the roads. I hate to say this, but CSR funds are not here to fix the roads. This is their responsibility, the government's responsibility. Now, Kiran has obviously, highlighted this whole issue. 17 years ago, Kiran was the one who actually funded the Tender Sure program. And I'm one of the co-authors of the Tender Sure program after we did Vittal Malia Road and many other roads. But she actually funded it. So she's been involved with this. So when DKS comes out and says that, where is Kiran? How come she has never been involved? She's been involved from the very beginning, from 25 years ago. Right? So now the bottom line is the government does not have any idea as to how to fix the problem. I'm very sorry to say this. I don't see a future for Bangalore if it's the current government or maybe even another government that comes in. So to the BPACs of the world, I say, when the corporation elections roll in, you have to field candidates who can come in and actually probably, have some idea as to how to fix these problems. And if it's a lost cause. To tell you the truth, it's a lost cause. I don't know how you can fix this problem. And I think most of the Shekhar has highlighted it, Brinda has highlighted it, Rebati is no stranger to this. But I really don't see a way out of this issue unless you're able to bring back some amount of fiscal responsibility, fiscal accountability. And then, of course, say that, I have a 5-year program, not a 2-year, not a 3-year program, but a 5-year program as to how we can revive this city. Because I travel the length and breadth of the city. I go to Sarjapur, I go to all the the outlying areas. Our lakes are completely polluted. The Rajakaluways, they're called the major channels that connect these lakes, are polluted to the extent that you will not believe it. Right? So we are in a really bad situation right now. We really are.
Okay.
And for anybody who paints a different picture, maybe the politicians would like to paint it, but I'm very sorry to say this, for the past 18 to 20 years, a lot of us, we're all activists. We're all here. There's a certain level of fatigue that is actually setting in because the government is not listening to us. They're not listening. They do not care. And I think, the Bangalore is the goose that lays the golden egg. Bangalore is the one that actually fuels the growth of all of the other cities in Karnataka. But these people are not concerned. And I'm very sorry to say this.
Okay.
But it's the
let me get in Revati Ashok also into this conversation. Revati Ashok, there are also, reports coming in that the Congress government in Karnataka is bankrupt at this point in time. When they got elected, they promised a lot of people, a lot of things. None of them have come to fruition or come through. So what's the plan? Is the city and the state going to languish under these conditions, which in no way explain, where India is going, where Viksit Bharat is going, and how something like this can be resolved, because this is basic.
Yeah, I think obviously all the panelists have said what is largely true. It is not that Kiran Mazumdar woke up last week and tweeted. She has been saying this for 17 years or 20 years. So this is not a new thing. Successive governments have responded differently. Some of them have been, I think the last we saw a very responsive government which understood what citizens require and what it is to have economic development was actually the S.M. Krishna government. And sorry to say that successive governments after that have not been able to respond to this with the speed that is required to look at the growth of this city. This city actually has grown much faster than any other city. It is close to its population when you consider the larger area, not just core Bangalore, because a lot of the growth is extended portions of Bangalore as well. It is nearing Mumbai population. So we have crossed 14 million, and very, very soon, I think we will be larger in number. and if you look at the outskirts. So as a result, what happens is, for a long time, it took BPAC 10 years exactly 10 years on the dot to fight for multiple corporations. To tell you the truth, it's the citizens who objected to having multiple corporations, because at least you decentralize and make smaller units of governance. At least people will not sit in one corporation office and never visit Whitefield and know what the problem is, never visit Sarjapur. At least now the responsible people will be in those locations. We are hoping with this there will be better focus on tax collections. We hope that there will be better focus on local infrastructure and the officials actually engaging with citizens. Yeah, there are many things that could go wrong, and there are many things that have not happened. So actually, it is a city on ICU. There is a lot of fatigue, and there are actions getting taken, not soon enough.
All right.
They are responding to some extent, but they are responding very, very slowly. The elephant has to learn to run. It is not even walking right now.
Absolutely.
It's just sort of waking up.
You're absolutely right.
What has also happened is now ORR, what we hear is the designs are all finalized. They are going to rework the whole ORR, so that is a big choke point, and a huge number of people concentrated in one road. I think that really needs urgent fixing. Not that the rest of the city doesn't need fixing, but because of the heavy concentration of people working in that area, if you resolve some of those issues, then you can simultaneously focus on some others. I think these are all patch fixes. What we need is the BMLTA to come into force. People should stop playing politics. The previous government on the last assembly session approved the BMLTA, which was a unified body.
We have a paucity of time, but I appreciate your inputs and everybody else's as well. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation. We have some breaking news coming in now. Well, Malaysia has secured a tariff